So now let's run through the process of transferring somebody into the club. I've quickly switched to a different test entity on the server, and I'm just going to click this new transfer in. So we've had a request from somebody. They've shown up at the clubhouse on a Sunday morning and they've said, hey, I'm currently a member of another club, can I join yours? And this is where you bring in that. Now you have to be very specific with these transfers. You need to know the state, branch and club of the person that you're transferring, and you have to put their full name in here, or the member ID. So I'll go ahead and put in our test transfer person here and click the Find Member button, and up comes the transfer request screen. Now there are three different kinds of transfers that can be carried out between the various different organisations within the Surf Lifesaving Australia family. There's a full transfer, which is obviously the most common. It's when somebody just moves on completely to a new club and all their records and everything will be moved over to that new one. Then there's a competition rights transfer, and this happens if somebody wants to go and compete for a different club. They might have a good surf sports team and they want to go and compete with them. And you can move their competition rights, transfer them out of the club, and it means that they're effectively a member of two clubs. So they can still patrol with you, but they can now compete with this new club. And then finally there's a non-competition rights transfer, which you'd use typically if somebody was just becoming a social member of a club. If they were helping out on the committee or something like that. So we're going to go ahead and initiate a full transfer, and you can see a breakdown of the details here. We have the winning state, branch and club, and the losing state, branch and club, along with the details of the person we're transferring. And we can create a comment in here if we need to. You don't have to fill in this box, but sometimes it's helpful to tell the registrar or administrator of the losing club why you're transferring that person over from there, or the person in the winning club, why you're sending this member over to them. And I'm going to go ahead and create this transfer, and it says my transfer request has been successfully created, and we can drop back now to the transfer request list, and you can see this on the system. Now what happens at this stage is that the registrar at the other end of the winning or losing club has to approve this transfer. There may be various reasons why they don't do this immediately. The person in question might owe the club some money, or they may have been suspended and they need to get in touch with you about that. So don't expect things to happen instantly. So through the magic of SurfGuard, I've quickly nipped over to the losing club to show you what things look like from the other registrar's point of view. And as you may recall from the transfer, it was from Bondi, so I've just changed to Bondi to show you here, and I've gone into the transfer list that is covered in the earlier tutorial, and you can see here we have two possible actions. We can either endorse this or we can choose to not endorse it. Not endorsing it does not mean the end of the transfer. The other club can bump things up to the branch or state if they're not happy with the way that turned out. But we're going to go ahead and endorse this to move things along to the next stage, and we're going to say this decision is that it has been endorsed. Wish him our best luck, and we're going to submit that. And if we now go back to the transfer request list, remember this is from within Bondi, you can see that the state has been changed to has been endorsed. Okay, so the next stage of the transfer process is that the branch or state, depending upon whereabouts you are in Australia, has to approve this transfer. So I've just hopped in here as the Sydney branch, just to show you what things look like from their point of view. And there are of course administrators within the branch whose job it is to make sure that all these transfers go through. And We can see the transfer here. We can see that both clubs have endorsed it and it's ready for approval or rejection. Now obviously in most instances the branch will just go ahead and approve this, which is what we'll do here. And we can see that all the details have been mirrored down here and the decision is that we are approving it. I'll submit that. And that's the end of things from the branch's point of view. Okay, so now I've transferred the Surf Guard control back to Shoalhaven Heads, because we were of course the one that were initiating this transfer, that we're transferring somebody in. And if we look at the transfer screen status now, we can see that the transfer has been approved and we can now complete the transfer by clicking this link here. So I'll go ahead and do that. And we get a final wrap up of the details. The decision is that we are completing. We then submit that. And that person has now been transferred into the club. And you can see on the screen here now that there's only one step left, which is to archive the transfer. What this does is just put it out of sight. All these transfers can be searched on and checked if need be. But we're going to go ahead and archive this just to clear this screen away, keep things tidy. And that's the end of that transfer.